Can I get members present, please?
Aaron Rashwa.
Present.
Shaquille Mullion is not present. Anthony Sudisaka.
Present.
Andrea Jordan.
Present. That was a quorum. We're now moving to Pledge of Allegiance. We're going to get this from the George Washington Elementary School. If everyone could please stand.
Everybody right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to be moving to the approval of the agenda. I would like to request to table item 9A, license agreement for the latchkey alternative to a future meeting.
Item 9H, sorry for my handwriting.
No worries. 9H, the license agreement for a latchkey alternative to a future meeting. With that amendment, are there any other amendments? If not, I'll take a motion.
I motion to approve.
There is a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion was unanimous. We're going to be moving on to our special presentations. This is going to be given also by our 5th grade learnings at George Washington Elementary School. The 5th grade students at George Washington Elementary School sought through their school community by gathering data from various stakeholders, most pressing needs. Additionally, students will present students will speak about their experience and
Good evening, board members, district office administration, students, families, teachers, classified staff, and community members. My name is Rochelle Pimentel-Ewan, and I'm honored and privileged to be the principal at George Washington Elementary School. Tonight, I have with me an amazing group of 5th grade students, along with their equally amazing teacher, Dr. Zoe Marinkovich. They're here tonight to present on some of the things that they have learned and studied in their class. At this point, I will happily hand it over to Dr. Marinkovich to share a little bit about their presentation tonight and introduce her students.
Thank you, Mrs. Ewan, and thanks everyone for being here tonight. I'm Zoe Marinkovich, and I have the pleasure of being the teacher of these amazing 5th graders, and they're actually going to tell you about what they did this year. So, come on over.
Good evening, and thank you for having us here. We are the 5th graders from George Washington Elementary School. I am Neve.
I am Christian.
My name is Chris.
My name is Layla. My name is Madeline.
And my name is Eileen.
We'd like to begin this evening by sharing about our experience with the new ethnic studies program.
The Ohlone people are Native Americans who lived on, and still do, the Northern California coast for tens of thousands of years. They require federal recognition as of now, and they wrote to our elected officials about this issue.
We wrote this land acknowledgement after a field trip to the Half Moon Bay State Beach. We'd like to begin our presentation by acknowledging the Ohlone land we are on. We want to express our thanks for the land on which we live, learn, and play. We love the creatures, the fog, the beach, the sand, the wind, the rain, and sun. We acknowledge this precious land is Ohlone land. They cared for the land before us, and they are still here.
ethnic studies has impacted our school by teaching us about racism in the past and how horrible it was. After learning about how racism causes conflicts and affects people in a bad way, it shows me that we need to end racism.
We learned about Mamie Tape, Sylvia Mendez, and Linda Brown. Things were unfair back then, and schools were segregated by race. These young girls and their families all fought legal battles to make things fair for everyone. It taught me that education is very important, and all the girls have taught us that you have to take risks and fight for what you think is right, for yourself and also for what you believe, for your community. We also learned how children played a huge role in the civil rights movement, marching and protesting to bring an end to the separation between people with different ethnicities.
Our experience with ethnic studies was great. We hope to be able to learn more ethnic studies in the future, and we hope that you could spread ethnic studies to more schools so more kids could learn about these important things.
We would also like to share with you the YPAR project that we did this year in TIG. YPAR is when the youth take action to improve our world. We try to find new ways to learn more about the problems in our community and find solutions. Our purpose is to help our school community and help make our school a better place. First, we learned about YPAR. Next, we looked at the main problems at our school. Then we learned how to research and gather data. Then we collected data from our school community about which problem is the biggest. After, we split into groups and each group dealt with a different problem. Last, each group did their best solving the problem and most succeeded.
We gathered this data through interviews, focus groups, and surveys. We wrote all of the questions ourselves, and we also wrote professional emails to our staff so we can prepare our interviews. An example of the data is shown here, and as you can see, teasing and litter were the biggest problems. In response to all the problems our community reported, we created some solutions.
Kindness fairies. We and some of our classmates created the kindness fairies because there was a lot of teasing and kids being mean to each other in our school. Fairies are very magical. They wear wings and they pass out stickers with encouraging words to kids at recess. We made some other plans to perform skits in the young kids' classrooms, but we ran out of time.
Because litter was such a concern from students, parents, and teachers, we created the junk bees. We were able to accomplish picking up most of the trash from the yard. We asked our custodians for help getting gloves, bags, and other supplies. Then, we picked up all the trash around the yard and campus. Unfortunately, we were not able to stop the neighbors from throwing trash on the curbside. To help prevent littering in the first place, we made a video with my classmates. We shared it at our Friday assembly to educate students about littering. We'd like to share this short video with you.
There is sound, music, and narration that's quite lovely that goes along with this video. Sorry about that. In the video, the students educate their classmates on ways they can help reduce the amount of litter they create, how to pick it up, and then talk about the effects on animals in our community.
During our interviews with teachers, we learned that some of them were concerned about the amount of lost clothing and other items being left all over our campus. We now have a club called the LNF Club. We created the LNF Club to organize the lost and found in our school. It was a big problem and made our school look gross. We wrote a letter to the PTA to request funding to purchase a new rack and some bins. Once a week, the LNF Club picks up any items left on the yard and organizes them using our new system. This helps our school looking clean and people can find their lost items.
As we hope you can see, kids have good ideas, and we can help make our schools better for everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation. And are there any comments or any, are there any comments from board members?
All right, I'm just going to say thank you very much. You did a fantastic presentation. And even without the sound and the music, I still understood the point of the video. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Marinkovich. Thank you to the students. You spoke really well and movingly, and I was really inspired by what you took away from the ethnic studies program. Such important lessons about ending racism and working together. And you have obviously done that during the year, and I just love the YPAR concept, and you've come together to make your school a better place. So I think you should feel really, really proud for that. And I just love the ideas you came up with, and I agree with Trustee Sujisaka that the message of the video came through even without the sound. So thanks again.
I got this right? Okay, perfect. I want to say that I was impressed to see you all take the mic. It was absolutely wonderful to see that there was data, and from the data that you had captured, you were able to create measures to basically lift issues in your school and figure out resources that would enhance some of the things that are happening. I love the lost and found, and let me tell you, having all of my kids come in, and you're the mom that has to go through the lost and found, the fact that you all took the time to organize that, that was pretty detailed. But I love to see what's coming up next as you guys continue to address issues that happen at your school and the advocacy that is coming from all of you, and you lifting that with all of us here today. So thank you. Thank you for your wonderful presentation.
I echo my fellow board trustee sentiments. Honestly, it's really amazing to see this happen, and I hope the parents in the crowd are extremely proud of their children, because I don't know if I was thinking of such innovative ways to clean up my environment or help others at your age. And so the fact that you're doing that means that you have such a bright future ahead of you. You are really the advocates for your community and your school, and you should keep it up, because the sky's the limit. Actually, the sky is not the limit. There is no limit to what you can achieve and what you will continue to do. So thank you again for that presentation. It was truly just amazing to see. So I want to give all of them a round of applause, please. And with that, we have some certificates that we're going to give out to you. So when you get your name called, please move forward. A board member is going to shake your hand and give you your certificate.
Starting, so, oops. So the first award is a certificate of appreciation for participation in the flag ceremony and the special presentation for us. For Creed Nico Sinbao. Congratulations. And then I have one more over here. And again, a certificate of appreciation for participation in the flag ceremony and special presentation for us, Eileen Becerra Campos.
And I have a certificate of appreciation for participation in the flag ceremony and special presentation for Rodalyn Therese Cruz.
Okay, I have a certificate of appreciation for participation in the flag ceremony and special presentation to Christian Vergara Trujillo. And certificate of appreciation for participation in the flag ceremony to Nevea Morelos.
And I would like to, I don't know if this, can you hear me? I don't want to butcher this for you, Layla. I have a certificate of appreciation from the Jefferson Elementary School District for participation in the flag ceremony and special presentation presented to Layla Sang.
Thank you all again, and obviously thank you to Ms. Ewan, also to Ms. Mirankovic. Your work with the students has been amazing, so we want to also applaud all the hard work that you've done as well, so thank you. Thank you again, students, and feel free to take a seat. We're moving on to the next item on our agenda, which is another presentation. I love these presentations. This is amazing. This is why we do it. We're here for the students, and so being able to have this much interaction with your children and, you know, the students, honestly, the future of our district, I think, is the highlight of my evening. So we're going to be having the TRP 2 advanced dance classes performing choreographics honoring the African roots, beauty, and artistry of Brazilian dance. The songs are called, I'm probably not pronouncing this correctly, so please, when they, Baiana and Obode. And Miss Jennings is going to help us with correcting. Thank you.
Thank you. Board members, would you, excuse me, like to move up to the front row? Good evening, school board, cabinet members, and JESD community. Welcome to TRP. I am the proud principal of this beautiful school, and we are so happy to be hosting tonight's board meeting. I'm very excited to present, as we just heard, two different dances from our advanced classes, honoring the African roots, beauty, and artistry of Brazilian dance. To begin, we have Ms. Frias's 4th period class, dancing to Baiana. The dances you see tonight have not yet been performed, so you are in for a real treat. We are not using curtains or stage lighting tonight, but if you are interested, and we hope to see you in 2 weeks, May 24th and 25th, they will be presenting their entire show. But here is the 4th period advanced dance class. we'll give a moment for the next class to get ready. Next up, we'll have Ms. Frias's first period advanced class, dancing to O Boji. And one more plug just for our shows on May 24th and 25th here at 6:30 p.m. With all the lights and amazing stuff. All right, here's up for our next dance. Yes, absolutely. Can I have all of our wonderful dancers and Miss Frias get ready for a little bow?
I am speechless. I'm almost gonna say that this is the best board meeting I've ever had since I've been on board. I mean, that was amazing. Wow, I'm blown away. I'm blown away. I don't even have the words right now, so I'm gonna pause so that I can. Going to allow my fellow trustees to maybe make any comments that they may have, and I'll start on my right hand side.
I'm still catching my breath too. That's just a phenomenal. You're right. We were too quiet. We were too quiet with all that. Yes. With all of the movement and the rhythm that was going on there, and being an islander and just hearing all of those beats, I mean, I could feel it just, run through my body. What a tremendous effort and a wonderful performance. I just want to say bravo again. Bravo to all of you. It's hard to get up there, but then to perform like that was pretty amazing. What I love about the arts is that it allows you to be very free and to have respect for the cultures that you have an opportunity to perform and really lift the heritage of those indigenous communities that you just did. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for doing it justice, and thank you to everyone that made it possible. And I look forward to seeing the performance in its full performance next week or 2 weeks, 24th and 25th. Is that what we heard? Yeah. So congratulations on a wonderful, wonderful effort. Thank you again.
I just want to thank both classes. That was an amazing performance. There was so much energy in what you did, so much story that I could see in the dances, and I just really enjoyed it. Words, yeah, I can't quite describe, but it was a wonderful performance. Great job, and excited for you for the performances next week. Thank you. I'm very proud to have this program at our schools.
So I'll keep my comments short. One of the things I think I love most about the arts is how the familial bonds you gain with your fellow performers. Being a performer myself, it's one of my biggest families that I've ever had when I was performing. So I hope that when you all go into, further middle school or high school, you all continue doing this, because that's one of the things I think it's your extracurricular, but it also keeps you grounded in school. It's something that keeps us involved in school. It's the not school that we enjoy. So continue doing what you do and keep loving your family like you do.
That I've had a chance to look through that, I was wondering if you are looking for any new members, because I was thinking that I should be up there dancing with you all. I mean, it was truly amazing, and it looks like you got a good workout in, which I think is also like a cherry on top of that. You had fun, you got some exercise in, and you had fun with your friends. And I think that's always, for me, I think, if you're gonna do something fun, you might as well do it with people that you wanna be around and you like. And you probably made friends while even just, doing these dances and learning all of that. And so I just applaud you for sticking to it. I'm excited to see it in its full glory. And I don't know if this is too high of a request, but I know we're having our annual education conference in San Francisco this year. And I know in previous years they've done performances from some of the schools. I would love to see our students on the stage at our annual education conference. So if that is possible, let's see if we can make that happen.
I'll look into that.
Thank you.
Work with Ms. Frias to get it together.
Awesome. So I want to end this with, again, a huge thank you to the parents that are supporting your students in coming to school and working hard outside of their regular studies. And I want to give these students and their teachers a round of applause for just an amazing, amazing performance again.
And I'll take the certificates and she'll pass them out tomorrow.
Now we have to go back to the regular part of our agenda.
Do we have to?
And feel free to stay, or obviously I know it's getting to dinner time. I appreciate you guys again for being with us here tonight. And so now we're going to move to communications, 6A, board member acknowledgements and commendations. And this time I'm going to start on my left-hand side.
You always start when I have none. I'm going to be talking about it later. That's why it's an agenda item, so thank you.
No worries.
I just want to say that I know this is a busy time. It's challenging at the end of the school year. There's a lot going on at the schools. I know there's state testing, but I just wanted to give a word of encouragement to all the teachers, parents, and students. And as I say a lot to the students in my household, there's a good there's a month left of learning to be had, which is very important. So we'll keep at that and have some wonderful activities going on in the district that I've had the pleasure of enjoying some of them. And there was a track meet on May 5th, and I want to thank the organizers of that, Renee Tanaka-Praxedis and Susan Roboy. It was wonderful to see all 4 middle schools competing at the track in varied events. And I also attended a very helpful webinar on the 2nd of May on supporting digital health among tweens and teens. So I want to thank Stephanie Martinez and her team for putting that on. I personally found that very, very helpful advice there. So thanks for all the opportunities for enrichment that we have in the district. Thank you.
Awesome. And the only thing that I am going to say is we had a void in our board for a few weeks, and I just want to acknowledge that we have that void filled again, and I just wanted to just acknowledge that your voice was missed, and we're so happy that you're back and you're okay, and looking forward to continuing to do this service with you.
Thank you. I want to not be emotional. I'm going to try my best to be professional. I just want to say that it feels good to be back. The work continues, and you all continue to represent and lead our district well. So I just want to commend my board colleagues, as well as our superintendent and the administrators. And I also want to, thank the community who actually got me into this seat, and I want to be transparent. A few months ago, I found out that I have a brain aneurysm, which is severely impacting my health and my physical being. And so it's been tough to be out in public. And so thank God for the advancement of technology and medicines that I'm able to get figured out and let the doctors do their work, that I'm able to be here tonight. What the rest of my term looks like, to be very frank, is unknown. And I want to just be honest. I haven't even had this conversation with our board colleagues, but as a woman of faith, I'm here tonight. I'm faithful that an answer will be known soon, but this work is near and dear to me. To see the performance this evening has just been heartwarming. To know that our superintendent is leaving soon kind of reminds me the finality of life and how short life is. And so a few weeks ago, I was asked, and I couldn't speak to it, but a few days ago, I spoke to some of the erasure that I see as a Pacific Islander as we celebrate what they say is AANHPI month. It hit home for me when I thought of our district and the work that gets lifted in our ethnic studies program. So to see and hear our students speak of that this evening meant a lot, because when I first came on this board, we spoke about that. And other colleagues who are no longer on here had also supported community schools and that initiative and that effort. But to have colleagues sit here alongside and administrators and our superintendent and our staff to be able to continue to make sure that that exists in our schools, because it's so important. It's so important that our students understand what cultures surround them and be able to be comfortable to embrace it. So I just want to thank everyone for your grace in allowing me to be absent these few, actually 2 months. That's how long it's been. Doctors didn't have an answer for me. I just need to name that. So I went back home. I had a very public visit to my country, but because of that, we did some traditional medicines, and I didn't think I'd be better today, and I'm grateful for that. I'm very, very grateful. So thank you for letting me be vulnerable. I'm so proud to be a part of this community. Many have been texting. Parents have been calling. We don't see you. Where are you? Please just let us know you're okay. So I just want to say I'm okay. But God bless you all. Thank you again for the leadership that sits here.
Thank you. We're going to be moving to 6B, superintendent comments.
Yeah, so as been mentioned earlier, we are entering this end of the year phase of the year where it seems like every week we have 2 or 3 nights where we're being invited to participate in something. Some of the events coming up, we have our Student of the Year coming up here. Event, we have our employee recognition. As Ms. Frias and Ms. Jennings pointed out, we have the dance performance here at TRP. You cannot come on the 24th, you have a board meeting, but you can come on the 25th. So put that in your calendar. And, you know, there's the Youth Cinema Project film premieres that are happening at the beginning of June, 8th grade graduation, of course. This coming Friday here up at the gym, we have our Special Olympics, which students from many of our special day classes, our students are most impacted by their special needs, will be competing in athletic events that are appropriate for them. So a lot of cool things happening. We can't make them all, but if you can make at least some, I think you'll get a better sense of the things happening throughout our district. And I just want to say that, you know, I just want to thank all the different departments that worked to get this event here today. You know, Ms. Jordan and I were just chatting. She's like, can we do one at TRP? I'm like, yeah, we can do it. You know, and it was planning the last 6 weeks, making sure that we have sound, making sure that we have light, making sure that we can pull this off in a way that we're used to, you know, and we are able to still, I believe, live stream. We didn't know if we were going to be able to do that. So, you know, we're used to a lot of different things that we weren't 10 years ago, and we could have a board meeting anywhere 10 years ago. And now we have to take into account lots of different things: sound, microphones, can we live stream, you know, everything like that. So I want to thank our technology department, our facilities and maintenance department for bringing chairs for us and arranging for this furniture to be in here. The school, of course, being such gracious hosts and allowing us to upend their afternoons so that we can be in the space. And of course, Ms. Varai, who packaged all of our needed items that are on your desk and brought them over here today. So, you know, it was a village, and you know, we made it happen. So it is great to be at a school site. You know, I want to say I want to do this more often, but this is my last one at a school site. But it does require thoughtful request, you know, to think exactly how it can happen and what can happen. So I'm glad that we got to see, you know, the dance program. I'm glad that we went through the effort to be able to get something great out of it. You know, if we just had a boring board meeting at a school site, I would have said, maybe not again. But if we can make it special, and we're at a school site, we can see something we can't see in a boardroom, then that makes it all the more special. And I think that's a great sort of rule to keep in mind. You know, what's going to be special about that we can't see somewhere else. So thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Jordan, for requesting it. And I think, you know, I try to be here on May 25th. The full show is amazing. If you've never seen the full show, there was a couple of years where it was on pause, but it's back. It was back last year. It was wonderful. And if there happens to be a daytime performance, which they do for their school community, I'll let you know because sometimes a daytime is easier to get to than an evening. So I'll let you know what that is.
So really quick, now that you said that, I do want to acknowledge everyone's efforts in bringing this together. I know that it is hard, and I truly appreciate it, and I hope that honestly, for me, I think it's having it in the community of where our children are, and it's easier for their parents and their families to get here, and so I think that was a part of it. But to your point, it was a special meeting, and again, I don't feel shy on saying it. I've been on the board for 3 years now, and this has been my favorite meeting. So I would try not to ask for this often. And with that, we are going to move to 7A, the consent agenda. The administration recommends the approval of the starred items on the rest of the agenda. Is there a motion?
I would like to move to remove an item from the consent agenda, and that is item 9F on IXL learning.
Are there any other amendments? And if not, I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda minus 9F, which will go on the regular agenda.
Sure, I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda with the amendment of the removal of 9F.
I second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That was unanimous. Now we're going to be moving to item 7C, resolution number 230510 to excuse Manufo Liaiga Anoa'i from regular board meeting April 19th, 2023. The board will consider a request for passage of resolution due to illness.
I motion to approve.
Second.
So first and a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion was approved. Moving to item 7D, resolution 230510A, classified employees week. The administration recommends the adoption of this resolution designating the week of May 21st through the 27th as classified employees week. Can I get a motion?
Actually, could I ask a clarifying question? So I think in one of the last board meetings, we acknowledged May 26th as Classified Employees Day. Are we changing that to the week, or are we doing both? Just to clarify.
I don't remember. We may have done administrative assistance day, which is April 26th. Oh, so
that was it.
So this is all the classified service, custodians, secretaries, lunch workers, campus supervisors, everybody.
Okay, thank you. And then motion to approve, I guess.
Second.
There's a first and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. That was unanimous. Moving on to item 7E, Citizens Bonds Oversight Committee Annual Report. This is an information report that we'll be receiving from a member of the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee on Measure J, M, U, and T.
Good evening, members of the board and the Jefferson administration and the audience. I will be presenting this report on behalf of Rosie Tejada, who could not be here tonight. Thank you, Will. I'm not going to be quite as entertaining as what you saw earlier, but I'll try my best not to put you to sleep. So I want to begin as required by the statutes and bylaws of the Measure U bond and Measure T parcel tax election. The Citizens Oversight Committee is pleased to provide our annual report to the Board of Trustees of the Jefferson Elementary School District. Members of the committee are Tony Bayodin, Pamela DiGiovanni, Thomas A. Norris, Marion Siki, Rosie Tejada, Adrian Zanini, myself, Dong Tran, and Jessica Wan. On July 28, 2022, the committee met to review current Measure U expenditures and discuss the progress of the Workforce Housing Project. At this current meeting, the modular units were nearly complete and were to be shipped for storage at Daniel Webster School in August of 2022. The committee also reviewed the progress of the MH Tobias fencing and security access point project. All expenditures for Measure I had been completed by fiscal year 2020 through 2021. On October 26, 2022, the committee met to review current expenditures and discuss the progress of the Workforce Housing Project. At this current meeting, JESD were awaiting for the final prefabricated units to be delivered due to delays. The committee also reviewed the completion of the MP Brown Safety Improvement Project, the near completion of the MH Tobias fencing and security access point project, and the delay of the Daniel Webster and Thomas Edison shade structure projects. On March 1st, 2023, the committee met to review current expenditures and discuss the progress of the Workforce Housing Project and how inclement weather pushed back the completion date. The committee also reviewed progress from MH Tobias fencing and security access point project. Additionally, the committee reviewed the annual independent financial and performance audit reports for Measure U's as presented by Ahmad Garaba, partner with Ide Bailey. The committee then reviewed the 2021-22 parcel tax expenditures to determine if the expenditures were in line with Measure T ballot language. Based on our review and observations, the Citizens Oversight Committee finds that the district is in compliance with the requirements of Article 13A, Section 1B3 of the California Constitution, and that Measure U bond funds are being used for the purposes specified in the ballot language. Additionally, the committee finds that the 2021-22 Measure T parcel tax expenditures are in line with the associated ballot language. The committee is pleased with the district's performance on the modernization bond program to date and looks forward to the successful completion of the 2023 project. Respectfully submitted by Rosie Tejada, who is our chair, but unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Are there any questions or comments from fellow trustees? There are not. Again, we thank you again, Ms. Reed, for that presentation. We're going to be moving on to item 7F, flying Pride Progress flag during the month of June at all JESD facilities. The Pride Progress flag symbolizes inclusion, respect, acceptance, and pride in oneself and reflects the ideals of the Jefferson Elementary School District. To respect, protect, and accept all individuals regardless of ethnicity, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, and other protected characteristics. The Pride Progress flag will fly during the month of June below the flag of the United States and that of the state of California, and provide another affirmation for the phrase "with liberty and justice for all." Members of the governing board will consider directing the administration to arrange for the flying of the Pride Progress flag during the month of June 2023 and every month of June thereafter. I see that we have public comment on this. Do we want to take public comment before?
Sure.
Perfect. I have Gladys, and I might pronounce your last name wrong, so I apologize in advance, Miahia, parent from Tobias, to speak on this item. Ms. Gladys, so speakers are customarily limited 2 minutes, so we welcome your input and remarks. Please address the items in which you're speaking about. We are not allowed to, unfortunately, respond back, but we will listen to your comments and deliberate from there. Thank you.
So, hi, I'm Gladys Miyahira. It's first time here. So if I fumble through my words, I'm not a good public speaker. It's one of those things. But I felt the need that I needed to come here and kind of say the words of not myself, but just other parents at our elementary school. We also feel that having the flag there as the listed. Well, let me start off with when I asked about the flag last year, it was just like, oh, it's diversity flag. Left it alone. I wanted to make sure that I was doing my homework on what it was. Mention it again to the principal once it was this year, just to get kind of a sense of how this was, put up and what was the the progress, and at the end, why was it put up in our elementary schools. She mentioned that it was something that she had no control. It was the board for me to speak for you to for you guys to speak to you guys tonight. So here I am. So the information that she gave me was that the progress flag and the definition of it was, again, it does symbolize inclusion, but I feel it's a little bit hypocritical because it states that it states that it includes everyone, but yet we're not able to accept everybody that embodies religion, right? It also states that accept all ethnicities and national origins, but yet I question that because this is a flag. But I question this because why would I make a flag is put up which doesn't identify with everybody that's in the school, right? If it's something that's supposed to be something that's ethnicity and origins, why aren't we flagging all the states, all the country flags? I mean, a kid would come in, I would have loved to see a Peruvian and Japanese flag hanging to identify and for me to feel safe in the school as well. I don't understand why those is added into the description of why we have this flag up. To me and to other parents, when they see this flag, it signifies more of a sexuality and more of a gender orientation, which I feel for our kids, why are we spreading that so young? I was surprised to see and hear that, we're saying the Pledge of Allegiance. My children have not said the Pledge of Allegiance in our school. On these words, it says, that it's a liberty and justice for all, but my children have not said this. They have not stood up in a classroom and put their right hand on their heart and read this. I've asked my kids whether or not they've even heard of the Pledge of Allegiance, and they haven't. Yet this is a verbiage that's on there and how it describes the flag. Thank you.
Ms. Jordan, we do have a request for another speaker. Mr. Smith?
Thank you for fitting me in. I just wanted to say thank you to the board for flying this flag. I'm a member of the LGBT community. I haven't officially come out at work, but a lot of people know. Just wanted to let it be known that we really appreciate it, and we appreciate being seen, and we appreciate the support from you guys. So that's all I really wanted to say.
Okay. I want to say thank you to our community for making comments. As stated, we cannot respond, but it does not mean, and I've said this before, it does not mean that your comments are not heard. And I've been very frank about how this system works, because it can feel very disrespectful that you're saying something and your expectation is to receive a response. So my request is of the superintendent and our administrators is that she had asked what the flag was about. She had also brought up and expressed her comments about the Pledge of Allegiance. I think that if we could do our due diligence to provide a response of why it is we do the Pledge of Allegiance in all schools. I think some people assume that we all know, but I think it's important to provide a response to our larger community to understand why this is a practice in our schools. That is my request. And I do want to say, while I can't comment on your remarks, I want to comment on what my understanding the flag represents. And to me, the flag is a sign of inclusion. And that's why I think it's really important that we share what this district believes we represent when we fly that flag, so that parents and the larger community can get clarity on the purpose of us making this proposal today and moving it to action. And I welcome the opportunity to continue conversations with anyone in the community through the superintendent, because we want to bring clarity. And to hear that you brought this up before and bringing it up today, and any community member that brings anything to our school board, many of us have said before, we welcome the opportunity to have further conversations. We just can't always respond to you like you'd like here. And because so many are viewing this interaction, it's just so important to let people know that it doesn't die or end here, that conversations are still welcomed, and that's what I want to share. But thank you for making your time to the mic, taking your time to share your commitment to your beliefs with us this evening.
Perfect. So I do want to make a comment on what is on the agenda. I remember when this came on the agenda last year and we approved it, and I was very happy to see it. I have children in this district, and I know their parents and their children, and some of them who are a part of the LGBTQI community. And I think we saw earlier when we were talking about, issues that we had at one school, teasing and bullying. And a lot of times when you are different, whether it be your skin color or the way you dress or the way you talk or do not talk, children can be cruel, whether it be, when I was a child or today. And so for me, I think, it truly does represent inclusion. I was a child that moved around a lot as a kid. I was always the new kid. I never belonged. And so to see something that showcases, it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter your sexuality, it doesn't matter how you dress, how you speak. To me, I think that's something that we should fly high. And I am in full support of moving this item forward. With that, I'll take any other comments and or a motion.
So I guess I'll speak as a community member more than a board member. So when I was working in our schools as a vice principal, one of the things that we see, especially nowadays, is a lot of students who question their gender, sexuality, and where they fit in. A lot of students who do not understand that. And also, again, being someone who came out later and being part of the LGBTQ plus community, it's difficult. I didn't even know what the terms that any of those things meant. I thought I was weird and different. And, I was very lucky that I grew up at a time where there were lots of weird and different people like me out there. And I think just, it's not meant for disclusion, it's meant for inclusion. It's supposed to make sure that we let our students know. So again, I was always very open with my students myself, just because, and I still am, because a lot of these students do not think that they have represented leadership at all. They think that there's no one out there who understands what they're doing, who's representing them and leading these changes. And so I'm always out there. I want students to know that. I want families to know that there are leaders out there in their schools who are willing to do this. And I think by raising the flag, we are also showing that even if you do not identify as LGBTQ+, we are still allies and we are still in support of you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions? And if not, I'll take a motion.
Ms. Jordan, so before the board votes, I'd like to speak. The, last year the board took some time and care to determine what does it mean for our district to fly this flag, and I feel that Ms. Manufo Liang-Anai captured that well. That's why we included that paragraph. Symbols mean different things to different people. And, you know, one example is the American flag. Sometimes you can see the American flag and feel proud that we are American and we're part of this country. Other times I see the American flag flying and I feel fear because the people who are waving it and holding it don't see acceptance. They have a lot of hate. And it's the same symbol, but the people carrying it and flying it have different meanings to it. And so our flagpole is a place where the board gets to decide what we speak and what it means. And I think providing the definition that's been written says this is what we mean when we fly it. We mean inclusion, everybody belongs, and it's flown at a time of the month of the year when there's a lot of rainbow flags that are going to be flying, and everybody who flies one probably has a different meaning associated with what they fly, but our flags mean this. And so I think just for the board to know, this is your speech. And the flagpole and what flies on the flagpole is the United States flag, the California flag, and then any other flag that the board determines can fly. So I, as an individual, may not select a flag. No community member can say, I want this flag flown. This is a board decision. So it is a big decision because you're determining what this speech is. And that's why last year we took a care and attention to craft that paragraph that describes what it means for our district to fly this flag.
Thank you, Superintendent Vidales. Trustee Rashba, did you have something to say earlier? I apologize. I might have cut you off.
I did not. No.
No worries. So with that, this is an action item. So we do have to make a motion or table this if we don't feel comfortable. Again, I believe that our board is a board of inclusion, which means that whichever way we vote, just vote honestly, and that's all I ask. So with that, I'll open it up.
I'll make the motion to approve flying the Pride Progress flag during the month of June 2023 and every month of June thereafter.
Is there a second? There's a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That was unanimous. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, item 8C, contracted services. The Regents and University of California, the administration recommends acceptance of this contract in the amount of $141,000 with the Regents of the University of California on behalf of its California Reading and Literature Project for the 2023-24 school year. Contractor will provide training for TK through 5th grade and special education teachers on the science of reading and foundational reading skills assessment. Are there any questions or comments? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I have a question. I just wanted to ask Ms. Scott if you could talk a little about the California Reading and Literature Project, and just wanted to hear how it will help our teachers and our students.
Okay, can you hear? Okay, good. It's on. Well, our goal is for all of our students to be reading on grade level by 3rd grade. So our teachers over the past several years have had extensive training on the TK through 5 benchmark advance board adopted curriculum and are now ready to dive deeper into the science of reading and the Common Core foundational skills, and that I have written down, our concepts of print, phonics, word recognition, fluency. And so our partnership with the California Reading and Literature Project will support our staff in reaching that goal. There are 5 different modules that we hope, 5 different half-day modules that we hope to complete throughout the next year.
And I ask just because reading is obviously so important, so fundamental, and I have read how critical that it is to get students reading by third grade. So I definitely support the additional resources being devoted to that. What do you expect that teachers will be able to do after completing this training, ideally?
They will be able to better target the student needs as far as being able to read on grade level by third grade. So they'll have assessments that will help determine what the skill sets are that the students need more focus on.
The only question that I have is this an opt-in, or will every single TK through 5th grade and special ed teacher be able to access this training?
They will all receive the training.
Are there any other questions or comments? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I motion to approve.
There's a first and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. That was unanimous. Moving on to item 9F. Contracted services, IXL Learning. The administration recommends approval of a contract with IXL Learning to provide K through 8 math licenses for online personalized math support to all elementary students from July 1st of 2023 to July 1st of 26. The contract shall not exceed $133,975. Are there any questions or comments on this item?
I requested that this be because math is also such a core topic, and I know this is about the same expenditure amount. So I just wanted to ask either Ms. Scott or Superintendent Vidalis if I know that our district has had a few online math enrichment programs, and I just wanted to ask why you chose IXL and kind of what you hope to achieve working through that district-wide.
So IXL is an online math platform and also is a platform for other subject areas as well. It has been utilized at several of our schools. Our 7th and 8th grade math collaborative team had a release day recently and really found this resource useful in their classrooms to help personalize students' learning, to reteach certain concepts or even to move ahead if necessary. So we worked, Ms. Brony and I worked in partnership with those teachers, and in discussions with other school administrators found out that many of our schools are already using this intervention tool, and so we wanted to provide it for all of our students. It is research-based. I used it as well in my prior position, and I think it has a lot of possibilities to help close gaps for our students.
I also have a comment, actually. So do we have any data that supports that this actually has improved the math or any subject that they're using at our school sites? Do you have any data that supports it?
I can look into our specific school sites, but with any intervention program, it's really important that it's used with integrity. And so working to ensure that that is happening at all our school sites as well is going to be a critical component of measuring the success of this.
So the only reason I mentioned it is because when I taught not too long ago, we used IXL. And so some of the skills, as it does, I will say it is very personal. It personalized. The one thing I will say it did not do is it did not teach my students how to do real world math. It's very computation based, not inquiry based. And so I think that's something that I think I would rather, if I can motion to table this till we get that data to really see if it actually is helping our students. I just think I feel a lot more comfortable with this decision unless that's not the direction of the board. Or how does that work?
Well, I have a question. Is there a timeline to get this done? This is saying July 1st, so that means the license availability will start as of that date. We have a meeting before then. If we tabled it, brought this back at the next meeting, would it be okay, or is there any pressure from a time standpoint?
Ms. Baroni, is there a setup timeline that we need to give notice to them to help us get all the right information in place before school year starts? Or can it wait till May 24th? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to have that data for you. We're not formally collecting the data. We can direct you to the IXL website that they've done the studies. Anecdotally, we do see our teachers express that students are making some progress and filling the gaps. And you're correct. This is not the math program, and it's not intended to be the math program. It's something that students can do after they've received their instruction from a live teacher that is more along the inquiry-based math instruction that we strive to have. But many of our students in reading as well as in math have gaps. And this is another tool that we utilize to help students practice their addition or multiplication so that they can then approach the quadratic equation and solve for the factor that. So it is supplemental and it is personalized, as you said. It does assess where a student is and then targets lessons for that. So it is definitely a supplement. It's not the core.
Could we maybe request, instead of the formal data, could we actually just get a survey of just the teachers who use it
Sure.
and
Yeah,
which subjects they use it for?
Yeah. We can bring back some more information. Certainly the information that led us to want to do this district-wide. Another piece that is not expressed here is that when you have 5 or 6 or 7 different math programs being used across the district, it's incredibly difficult to support and incredibly difficult to have a conversation across school sites. And so this is an effort. This is one that has been used by a lot of our school sites that's had the most whatever is defined as success, and we'll get that to the board. And trying to have this tool available to all of our school sites so that there could be more conversation around how do we use this for its purpose and to the best extent as possible.
Thank you. And then, go ahead.
So I had a question. It says that this would be a contract to provide K through 8 math licenses, but it says supports all elementary sites. So I want to be clear. Do we mean like all of our schools? Or are you saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're an elementary school district.
Well, yes, but we have middle schools in our elementary school district, which is why I just wanted to be very clear, because it seemed like they were two different things that you were saying on the. So I just all that's clear. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay.
I have one more question. Will this program be available both at school and at home? And I ask that because I have witnessed my children and my children's friends talking about, advancing their levels on different online platforms that we have. So I think that's a real value, that it allows kids to work on these core subjects in the summer and on weekends and keep that going. But from the nods, I see it will be available at home.
Yeah, it'll be available through, I believe, the Clever sign-in. That's on all of our student devices.
And I wanted to just add to what you just said, Trustee Rajba, because my kid has also come home and he's not in a grade. My youngest was not in a grade to be able to take home a Chromebook or anything, but teachers gave them like a little scanning so that they could do it at home anyway. And it's funny, my child got really competitive and she's like, this person's online and doing it. I'm gonna do it too. You're not even required to. So they're, the children are so excited to do it even outside of what they're required to do, which I think speaks volumes for the programs that we are selecting. And so I would love to see more information, and hopefully this is one that will truly supplement. And obviously I think testing doesn't start until the 3rd grade. So hopefully this will help the K through the 2nd graders. By the time they get to 3rd grade, they're much more prepared, or at least not less prepared to move forward with whatever testing our district provides to them. So is everyone in agreement to table this item? Okay, so we will table item 9F, and Superintendent Vidal, if you have on the regular agenda for the next time.
Yes.
If we want it to be on the consent agenda, I just want to make sure that some comments are all this information is provided in advance, so that way by the time we have the meeting, there is no confusion about
Yes.
what it is.
No, we'll put it on off consent and include information for the board as well as for the public to observe and view.
Thank you.
And if I could say thank you,
Yeah.
Trustee Rochbell, for pulling that. Yeah, I really appreciate it. So you read my mind.
We're going to be moving on to 9O, JS faculty and staff housing projects and permit administration ratification of the approval for issuance of 3 separate checks paid to the city of Daly City for the following: landscape build permit in the amount of $330.05, to purchase of 2 water meters in the total amount of $1,174.04, and 3, permanent extension fee on the grading and erosion control permit in the amount of $207. These payments are related to the JESD faculty and staff housing project. These will be funded by the Measure U bond fund. Are there any comments or questions? Are we looking to our financial advisor for any other? And if not, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve this project fees and permits.
We have a first, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I do want to make a comment before we move on to this. I know that we had some trustees in attend the tour, and so I'm happy to see that this is where we're just.
Yes, and the reason it is on the agenda and it's not consent is we've paid the city of Daly City a lot, so every small fee, every check that we need to write, we would like the board to ratify it. Even though this seems like, why are you coming to this for $3,000? Don't you spend $3,000 every day? We do, but because it's with this particular agency, we just need the board to ratify those payments.
And for the public, I would like to, the question I always ask, and this within our budget, correct?
Yes.
Yes, this falls within the budget.
Awesome. So we're going to be moving on to item 9P, JESD faculty and staff housing management agreement with Boulevard Residential Incorporated. This is an information item. JSD Educational Housing Corporation approved the property management agreement with Boulevard Residential at its April 25th meeting. Boulevard applied through the JSD run RFP in the 2021-22 year for property management services. Are there any comments before? Okay, then I will entertain some information about this.
It's just provided as information. You know, the board selected Boulevard to be the property manager. We did not enter into contract with them because we're not the correct agency for that. The Education Housing Corporation is the one who will enter into that contract, and they did. And so it was just provided here for your information that they've entered.
Are there any comments or questions? All right, we'll be moving on to item 10A, certificate. Really love the. So a certificated retirement for 22-23, the administration recommends approval of the retirement request from Catherine E. Armstrong, principal, effective 6/21/23, and requests an appropriate resolution be prepared commending Ms. Armstrong for her years of service to the district. Ms. Armstrong has been employed by the district since August 29th of 1997. Are there any comments from fellow trustees?
I'll take up my mic too. Again, with all of our staff members who are retiring, especially with so many years of service. Congratulations. It's very well earned. But it's we love here, and that's one of the reasons we do all that we do is we're trying to support people in our district. We want them to stay. We want them to have long and healthy careers, especially in the Bay Area where it is so difficult to hold long-term careers. So we just wanted to acknowledge the value. Thank you for all your years of service. Enjoy retirement.
I'd like to make a comment. I know that Ms. Armstrong is not Jamie Webster now, but I had the pleasure of working with her when my daughter was at Franklin, and she was always a joy and pleasure. She had so many innovative ideas, and she also stood her ground, she set her boundaries. I think sometimes it's hard to do that as a teacher. You want to appease everyone, the parents, the district, your students, and so I just wanted to commend Ms. Armstrong for setting those boundaries and standing strong and standing her ground, and obviously for all of the years of service that she's given to our district and the people that she impacted along the way. So, are there any other comments? Yes.
Thank you very much. I can too project, and I have a microphone to help out. Like you mentioned, it does say Daniel Webster her last few years, but, my first year when I came to JFK, she was just finishing her first year. She's, I believe, taught every single grade. She was a dean at JFK. She was the vice principal at Ben Franklin. She was a teacher at Fernando Rivera, a math science teacher. She's really made an effort to take herself out of her comfort zone to kind of keep those juices flowing, and I just am really happy to see she gets to enjoy her retirement after 26 years here with our district. So thank you for those comments you said earlier, and I wish Kate the best.
There's a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations on your retirement. We're going to be moving on to item 12A, Board Policy Administrative Regulation, December 22, CSA Board Policy Update, second reading. The board will review and revise the Board Policy Administrative Regulations used in December 22 CSA Board Policy Update as stated in the second reading. I know we all looked at this in advance. Are there any questions or comments or adjustments needed? And if not, I will entertain a motion. There's a first and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. That was unanimous. Moving to item 13A, Board Study Session, CSK 22 Annual Education Conference. This is an information discussion. Board member Aniko Maria Anwai will highlight some of her learnings as well as give a report about her attendance at the CSK Annual Conference in San Diego last year, November 30th through December 3rd.
And I apologize, I was trying to log on and read it to you, but I will say I had three topics. One on right now that sits with me is the community schools from Evergreen School. The presentation that they had moved me because the panel consisted of council members, community nonprofits, and the school district. And I know we've talked about community schools in the past, but I just hope that a version or snippet of that could be birthed here. I will continue to push for that in some way, shape, or form because
I'm going to interrupt you, Ms. Liang. So our district did receive a community schools grant, and so we'll be moving forward in that. Yeah, yeah. Yes.
they actually have a dedicated building, and that's what I wanted to get to. They have a dedicated building that was funded by the school district. So it's just the system that they have in place is seamless. Parents are able to connect with
Yeah, let me just serve this up a little bit. The board selected Mr. Sujisaka to serve as its representative on the Education Housing Corporation. And so the way that the subcommittees are supposed to work when there's decisions and actions being taken, the member or members that sit on that subcommittee need to hear from the board on how might they best represent the board and receive direction. So this is an opportunity for that. Usually our subcommittees aren't making decisions or proclaiming a position on behalf of the board, and this is one opportunity. So Mr. Sujisaka serves on that board, and as a representative of this school board, and they'll be making a decision on the education housing guidelines. Ms. McCulick, you have a quick presentation for our board on it. And then, having a discussion, Ms. Jordan will facilitate the discussion among you as you provide thoughts and direction to Mr. Sujisaka. And then they'll be voting on this in the next week or so. Yeah.
Good evening, members of the board and public and cabinet. I have been facilitating the Education Housing Corporation board meetings this year. I'm not a voting member, but I do help facilitate the meetings. And so I am here to assist Mr. Sujisaka in sharing some of the information. So we wanted to give you a little bit of highlight of what we've been working on. At this point, we are working on the eligibility criteria. And so the Housing Corporation has kind of created a pretty ready draft that we want to share with you that's on the agenda tonight. We discussed it at 2 meetings, the March and April meetings, and this eligibility criteria was modeled after the high school district because they've gone through the process. We are fortunate to have our president on the Housing Corporation, Barbara Christensen, who was part of the San Mateo Community College District in having them develop the first workforce housing at public school system, and she, I think, had a big part of their eligibility criteria. So we have a lot of historical information, and so she has a lot of great insights for us because she's gone through it several times. So you can see that this version that we have on the agenda was pretty much used from the high school district, and then we made it fit our needs. So if you go to the next slide, Ms. Scott, thank you. So I just pulled out some of the highlights. This is not all of them, but this is just some of the major ones I wanted to point out to you. One of the points of discussion was having a maximum length of tenancy and having it 7 years, but still to be determined by the Housing Corporation Board as we see how the first few years go. So the first few years we would actually have a 5-year maximum tenancy and then decide, okay, we need to stagger it. And the reason for that is we don't want everyone leaving at the same time because we'd need to house. And then also having a maximum tenancy allows for other teachers and staff to have an opportunity to benefit from this housing. And the purpose is to build savings so that people who live in the housing can afford either market rate rentals in the future or buy property. We don't want to assume everyone wants to buy property, so it's giving that option. And also, because this is a tool for recruitment, we want to encourage people to work in our district. We do want to set aside a number of units, and so as a group we decided 4 units, or they decided 4 units initially, and only the 1 or 2 bedrooms, because as you can see in the little blue box down at the bottom, out of the 56 units, the majority of them are 1 and 2 bedrooms. There are only 6 3-bedrooms, so we didn't want to set aside one of those because that will probably be very coveted with larger families. We also have the balance. We're going to have a ratio of 64% certificated, 36% classified, so balancing what our current staffing ratio is in our district in the housing as well. And then there are 10 priority categories, most of it focusing on employment status, whether you're full-time or part-time, and then also previous home ownership, whether you've owned a home, how much equity you've received from that home, and then also income levels. And so there's 10 kind of touch points and priority areas. So those are the main highlights I'd like to point out. And I believe that's all. So if you have any questions for Mr. Sujishaka or myself, we'll be happy to answer. Or Mr. Laro, he's a board member of the Housing Corporation as well.
So I would like to, so in terms of facilitating, I would like to have each board member only ask one question. That way we allow each person to speak and may have a question answered from another board member so that we're not monetizing the time. And I'll start on my right side and then have to be all the way to the right.
We did not if I may respond, we did not identify maximum. We have minimum, but not maximum.
And that's out of respect to, you may have, so like if you have one gender of children, they might be able to share a bedroom, and you may be with them more, rather than if you have differently gendered children, or you need people in different rooms, so like, that's why we didn't specify a max. And we also respect multi-generational housing, so that was too.
Yeah, it sounds like some difficult decisions may need to be made in having, 10 priority areas and, needing to decide whether to extend leases in some cases. Has the process been laid out, of how that's done? Is that the whole board that reviews cases? Is it the head of the Education Housing Corporation?
Mr. Laro looks like he's ready to answer that one. I'll turn it over to
So
him.
yeah, this document is essentially setting up the scaffolding and the framework for how people become eligible, and based off of the different priority areas, income level, things of that nature, right? Full-time, part-time employment status, they'll be ranked. And then we work hand in hand with Boulevard Residential, our property management company, for them to facilitate and help us with like the leasing and other legal property management issues, right? We are an educational institution, a public educational institution, so we'll be leaning a lot on Boulevard through this process as we develop the criteria, or after we pass the criteria, but also setting up the rankings and how that goes through the progression, right? So it's equitable.
So I'm just wondering about the income levels and if there'll be a difference in the amount of rent that people pay, depending on their income level, or is it just?
Yeah, it's based on the unit, and the area median income in San Mateo County is it's very high. So almost all of our teachers, actually all of our teachers would be able to have access if they're full time.
So you said if they're full-time, that was thinking that.
Well, if they're part time, they also have access to it. But based on the prior, the Education Housing Committee had prioritized staff members who are working full time. So there's 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, and so forth.
So I'm just a little bit confused because if we're opening this up to certificated and classified, they don't get paid the same way. And then now I'm hearing, it's going to
Yeah, that ratio is based upon the breakdown of our current staffing across the district. 64% of all of our staff are certificated, and 36% of them are classified employees.
If I may also add, it'll be two separate lists. So you'll have a certificated list and a classified list. So 64% will come from the certificated list, 36% would come from the classified list.
How often are we going to be changing the eligibility criteria? Because if our data changes in terms of the level of staffing, then that will need to be looked at, correct?
Yeah, I envision this, like I said, as the scaffolding and the starting point for us to get the project off the ground and to get it fully staffed or full utilization. I believe, we've been having a meeting every month just to get everything off the ground. Once we finish the project and we have tenants in and we fill it up to capacity, the meetings won't be as frequent. But I believe that, the eligibility criteria is always something that's going to be able for us to change and relook at, right? That's why also, we set the maximum tenant length originally to be like about 5 years, but upon review it can go to 7. And that's something that we're always trying to look at in reviews is how do we foster that kind of turnover so that, nobody has access to it and people are just stuck in the units, right? But a way for all of our employees to kind of cycle through if the need's there.
The third paragraph on the first page actually says that board may revisit these guidelines and amend the guidelines from time to time. So there's something in here that says it will be as needed.
I have several questions, but you're asking me about a time, so it's kind of awkward. So I'm a little bit confused by just set aside 4 units. Is that to just like showcase the units and give people a tour? What exactly does that mean that we're setting aside to recruit?
We will save 4 units, so 2 1-bedroom, 2 2-bedroom, for new teachers coming in to have access to live in those houses or those rental units.
So often, and Mr. Valenti can tell you how often, we do make offers to individuals from other states to come and work in our district. And after 3 or 4 weeks of exploring the market, they tell us, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to live there, so I'm going to need to rescind my acceptance. So these units are intended for those folks who come from out of the area. Everybody wants to live in the Bay Area, and that's why it's hard to find a place, but they don't realize how hard until they get here. And if they're coming from a state that has a lot of space, they're like, I can get 3 apartments where I'm coming from for the price of this little closet. So, and that's what it's for. And I think, as far as administration goes, those would be reserved for positions that there's high need and low availability. So individuals with a special education credential, speech credential, mathematics and science, they're just incredibly difficult to find. So if we find somebody that has that doesn't have housing, this is an additional tool to utilize.
So, employment status, full-time, part-time, when someone leaves the district prematurely and they've already gone through this process, and like, let's say we put them in the first year and we decide not to
initially put as many people as we can in there. This is going to be after the start of the school year. I think in November.
Trustee Jordan, I believe you're speaking to if an employee is no longer employed with the district. Yeah, so I think we're going to be leaning heavily upon Boulevard as our property manager. Like I'd said earlier, and I'll state again, we are a public education institution, right? And so we're going to be utilizing them as a resource also because of different tenant laws and landlord laws, right, that we would have to follow as it pertains to the county, but more specifically the state as well. So they'll be at our next meeting and meetings going forward, and those are the questions that we're going to be asking is, you know, in those situations, what do we do in order to be protected, but also, you know, within reason of law, right?
What has also been helpful is the high school district is already experiencing this, so we can see what they're doing and adapt it to fit our needs as well. So I know that they've had similar situations, and so we look at their procedures and take that to decide our own.
And additionally, I'd like to add that along this whole process, we've all, Jefferson Union High School District as well as Jefferson Elementary School District, we've been working hand in hand with County Council. So throughout the entire process, they've been with us the entire way. So we're always checking and double checking with them to make sure that we're, like I said, following the laws and we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's.
So I just wanted to ask if Boulevard is the property manager for the high school site. They are, okay. Yeah, that's good. It seems like there may be some difficult things to navigate in terms of needing people to leave after a certain period of time. So I am glad to hear that they have that experience. Yeah, our first year, we're going to be figuring it out. And so we have to see what comes our way. And I think it's going to be a trial and error for our first year. And then we'll be able to establish, the board, the housing board will be able to establish more defined criteria. But we really have to see kind of how it unfolds in our first year. But yes, we will need to have very clear deadlines and timelines for those.
I can address that a little bit. The years where we tend to lose teachers are the years 3 through 7. And if we can, and they tend to leave because when they start teaching with us, they have housemates. There's 3, there's 4 of them sharing a 2 or 3 bedroom house. You know, they turn 23, 24, 25. I'm too old for housemates. I need to move out on my own. I can't afford something. And so this would allow an opportunity for folks in that strand of their career to be able to stay here a little bit longer. We could retain them a little bit longer. And then at the end of that time, generally, you know, I don't want to say that marriage or partnership is what helps people stay here longer, but it does when you have double income. You can afford more sometimes than you can on a single income. And so generally folks might be coupled up by the end of their 7th or 8th year with us. It's not a promise. I wish I could make it a promise, then we'd have no problem recruiting. But I think that, it just increases the opportunities for folks to stay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. 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 No, I'm just saying that even those of us with housemates, legal housemates, that we might still want to move into a single.
Are there any other questions?
I only have one more for tonight, and I'm sure I'll have much more. So going back to talking about retention, are there any plans to work with the city to, for instance, if we're saying that someone's going to save money for 7 years, who knows how much money that's going to be? And we would hope they would be able to possibly buy. Where are we thinking they're going to buy a house? And if we're saying it's Daly City, are we working with the city to provide more incentives?
That's a great question to ask about. The city, we can start to engage in conversations with them. We wanted to get this off the ground first. But to your question about potential savings, Mr. Lauer and I did a little number crunching, and it is very possible to save for a down payment. And home, condo, definitely you can purchase a condo in Daly City after 7 years of savings. It depends on your saving level and how much you want to set aside each month. But I think we were seeing, with a single teacher.
Yeah, I don't have the official document that we had worked on, but I'm hoping the next time we meet, we could bring forward the metrics that we came up with and the proposal of how one could save money, usually utilizing the average teacher salary, the rents that we're proposing, the average cost for utilities and other student loan payments, whether it be food, and the bottom line. So just as a framework, as for guidance, as well as I know we've also been looking into other state programs that have been passed regarding
shared appreciation loans.
Yeah, shared appreciation loans through the state of California. And so as we gather that package together, hopefully at the next meeting we'll be able to present more information on ways we could assist and try to help as best we can our staff to forge a path to home ownership.
So I'm glad that you're hearing going to the city or other programs. I guess my question is beyond just giving them information on where they can get loans or where they should bank. Like I think a lot of it has to do with education. You can tell where rabbits are run, but everyone is running doesn't understand why it's supposed to run. And so it's like, okay, yes, you should be saving. What does that look like? Are there any financial education that's given as a part of it with Boulevard, properties? Because I think it's going to take access to programs, but also access to constant education throughout those 7 years to ensure that by the time they get to the 7 years, that they're not blindsided or confused about how to move forward.
Yeah, that's one of the bylaws of the Education Housing Corporation. That's sort of one of their charges, is to bring educational programs into the community on a regular basis to provide that kind of information and education and support. We've done those district-wide, but imagine, having sort of a community of 100 adults, perhaps, where you can bring, when we've done it district-wide, we've had maybe 20 people show up. But if you have 100 people that you're inviting that are all thinking about this idea, you can get far more people involved. And out of the, we've had a partnership with Landed, which is a shared appreciation loan program, privately funded, that the state of California sort of replicated and then realized they had more interest in it than they could afford. But the Landed program has, I think, they don't tell me who, but we have between like 4 and 6 employees in the last 3 to 4 years, 3 to 6 years, who have taken advantage of that, where they put down a part of their down payment. The Landed Corporation puts down an equal amount, and together they purchase a home. And then by year 10, that either refinance or sell, and then give Landed a percentage of a commensurate percentage of whatever gains were made. And in the Bay Area, they tend to be big because property values are rising. They also Landed, as well as the state program, take the losses as well. So if the housing market turned upside down and you needed to sell, they take the loss. They don't charge you for that. Yeah, and I think the community college district had access to a significant amount of non-public funds. We only have public funds, and so that's not available to us. But the community college district did have some non-public funds that they could utilize to promote that kind of a program.
Along similar lines, this week the May revision will be coming out. One of the updates for the budget as a whole in the state of California. So I'm very hopeful that we'll have good news and education would be getting additional funding ongoing so we could help support our teacher salaries as well. Not just teachers, but all of our staff salaries.
Okay. Let's not try to get off this topic. Brown Act. Yeah.
district, and I think that we kept our focus on the best interests of our students as usual.
I am excited in my first full year as a board member to attend some of these events happening at the end of the year. As I said in the beginning, it's been really gratifying going so far. Looking forward to middle school graduation, all the exciting things coming at the end of the year. I want to thank TRP for hosting us tonight. It was wonderful to be here on a school site, and to definitely the highlight for me was the presentations in the beginning from George Washington students and the dance teams from TRP. Just wonderful, and just wanted to say it's wonderful to have you back at the meeting, Trustee Leoniga Anuai. Thank you.
We'll be walking across here to the office.